The ASCC heads to the Lone Star Supercell for the semifinal race of the 2012 season, the Houston 200. Winner of the Goodyear Pole Award was given to Craig Janser in the 00 car for the seriously underfunded Tri-Oval Racing. Frank Asher started on Janser's outside, and Janser surprisingly pulls out to the early lead. As you can see how underfunded that team really is. There's no sponsored decals on that car whatsoever. As Azure now loses, or starting to lose second to Stephen Gill in the 17. But the outside has been proven to be the stronger line, and Azure will keep second. And eventually, he would get past Gill, and would fight Janser for the lead. Azure's chase has not gone terribly well for him. Matter of fact, he has not finished in the top 10 since New York, which was the third race of the season. Matter of fact, even though he wrecked out of last week's race in Charlotte, it was his best first top 20 finish since Watkins Glen. As you can see, Stephen Gill getting by Craig Janser for second, but eventually Janser would get past Gill, and Azure would take the lead back. As you can also see, Anthony Evans, winner at Talladega, moved up to third, and here comes Azure for the lead again. But the inside is not as strong as the outside, and he doesn't make the pass work, as now Stephen Gill and Anthony Evans are now going. Actually, no, forget that. Jason Richardson, Azure's teammate, getting into the battle as well. But Azure is going to fight on the outside and stay in second. Here is Nicky Curtis, currently running in about the 20th position and right in front of Phil Castillo and Palmer Styles. Curtis has definitely exceeded expectations this season, as it is occasionally running in the top 10, and it's still very early in this race for her to get adjusted and run up front in the top 10 once again. As you can see, Lauren Roth deep into that battle as well. Meanwhile, back up front, Azure eventually got around Craig Janser back for the lead, but is now under pressure from Stephen Gill, as Gill is going to lead that lap, but Azure is going to try to fight on the outside, and here comes Jason Richardson into the battle as well. He's going to pass Janser for third on the inside, almost runs into Azure. As you can also see, Gill also completed the pass on the outside and takes the lead. And as you can tell by the lights, the first caution of the day flew on lap 5. Billy Bob Childress in the 16 is going to push into the 76 of Bobby Miller, the third, right into Miller's father, Bobby Miller Jr., in another one of the Tri-Oval cars. As you can see, Darren Moore and points leader Dan Richards get collected as well. As you can also see, Miller was able to drive away from this, riding along with Richards now. As you can see, he slows down enough to avoid it, but gets clipped by Moore. And as he starts to drive away, gets rear-ended by Aaron Cruz. Jordan Watts also involved, as well as Seth Anderson. This is not what Richards needed entering the final race of the season, as he, along with everybody else involved in the wreck with the exception of Childress, would retire from the race. Meanwhile, before that happened, Bill Calhoun, Texas 500 winner, blows his engine, and that would end his day as well. Tough break for Calhoun, who in the chase has not really done much. Most of the field would pit under that caution. Craig Janser was among the few that didn't, and he inherits the lead on the restart. As you can see, he does not get as big of a jump as he did at the start of the race, and Jason Richardson tried to pass for the lead on the inside, but as I said, the outside is the better line. Janser will hold his position going into turn 2. Here is Garth McAllister Jr., was among the few that also did not pit, now running in the top 5. The chase for McAllister has been an absolute nightmare. He has failed to finish all 3 races, and as he entered the chase as the top seed, he's looking to redeem himself now, as all ambitions of him winning the championship have pretty much faded away because of that. Meanwhile, back up front, Ethan Everett now going for the lead on the outside. Jason Richardson was a part of that battle, but of course faded back. Janser is going to try to fight on the inside. And I don't know if it's going to work, but he's going to try to push Everett into the wall. Almost did. Janser's going to keep the lead because of that move. Henry Rayner and Aaron Collins are going to come into pit road due to punctures. Whoa, overdrove the access road there. As anyway, as I was saying, both have experienced punctures and will have to pit to get those fixed, and they would lose lap cover. Rayner would lose 1 lap, Collins would lose 2. Meanwhile, Joe Olenek punts Mike Whitmore into the wall. I don't know what was that all about. As a result, Whitmore's going to drop like a rock because of it, as he was running around the top 5. Oh, and you see almost Lauren Roth almost gets in the side of him as well. Here is Tony Durbin currently running in 5th. He is 2nd in points entering this race, and he's going to be the main beneficiary of Dan Richards now being out, as you see Frank Asher now fighting Durbin for 5th. So like I said, if he can keep up this pace, Durbin would be in great position going into the final race at Atlanta. Meanwhile, back up front, Roman Musico has taken the lead from Craig Yonser with the help of Yonser's teammates at Phil Harding and George Dennis, which really does not surprise me on the account that that team has not really been the epitome of teamwork, as numerous times this season they have been found impeding each other and at some points wrecking each other. Yeah, great teamwork, guys. And a couple of laps later, Musico would then catch up to Aaron Collins, who had to pit for that puncture, and that'll put him 2 laps down, as Musico now trying to use him as a pick to separate himself from Frank Asher, who's trying to take the lead from him. But Asher would eventually get around Collins and would try to go for Musico on the inside, and actually makes it work, bringing Ethan Everett with him. But Everett's not going to be as lucky as Asher, as I see the outside, as I said, it is the better line, and Musico is able to stay with Asher as they go into turn 1. Collins is actually keeping up with these guys. Well, he only was pitted for a puncture, so it's not like he's off the pace or anything, but it's going to be a major inconvenience to get around on the account that he's not racing for the win, as Ethan Everett would eventually take the lead. Asher now back behind the lap car of, I believe that's Bobby Miller Sr. in one of the Christian Motorsports cars. Collins has now gotten back around Asher and Musico. Remember, he's trying to get back 1 lap down, as Asher now gets by Miller Sr. and now tries to work on Collins so we can get up to Everett. Meanwhile, Nikki Curtis is in a hornet's nest right now. I believe she's running around the 16th position. Right run for Curtis so far, as he's going 3 wide with Joe Olenek and Lauren Roth. Like I said, just really displaying our talents today. Joseph Parker in the 69, being his normal backmarker self, blows up. So not like it matters. It wasn't really doing much anyway, as he pulls onto the apron to drag out of everybody's way. As a matter of fact, he actually would not make it back to pit road. He would actually stall on the apron of the track. However, the caution would not fly for whatever reason. Parker, the former Arlo driver, of course, hasn't really done much on the account that he's with a backmarker team. Meanwhile, Everett's still in the lead as they blab the tri-oval cars once again, along with, I believe that is Joe Burns. They're also putting a lap down now, as he's got a huge lead over Frank Asher. He's now has to deal with the lap cars. Eric Collins still up there as well. Remember, he's still 2 laps down. Second caution of the day would fly on lap 38. Remember how I said that tri-oval cars were not the epitome of teamwork? Well, here's the example of that. Phil Harding puts George Dennis into the wall. Like I said, that's happened numerous times this season, as then Bobby Miller Sr. plows into it, and so does Tim Warder and Casey Lester, who apparently forget where the brakes are. As Curtis Darcy plows, drives through that. So yeah, teamwork, the great teamwork between the tri-oval racing cars continue, as we see on board Curtis Darcy goes through the wreck and continues on his merry way. Everybody would pit under that caution. Durbin would only take 2 tires on that stop, and he would inherit the lead on the restart. As you can also see, Nikki Curtis also took 2 tires, and she is now in 3rd. Now we get to see what she can do now that she's in the front of the field, as Durbin pulls away, as he pulls ahead of Aaron Collins to separate him from Everett. As you see, Asher now battling Curtis for 3rd, and Asher pulls into pit road. What is up with the 14 car of Nick Asher? I think he may have a puncture. As you see, he pulls into pit road. out of 4th. Oh, that's gotta be gut-wrench for him. It seems like nothing can go his way recently. As I think you can see someone else coming in there. I think that's Phil Caslow. Yeah, but anyway, tough break for Azure. He's gonna lose a lap because of this. Meanwhile, back up front, Tony Durbin pulls away from Ethan Everett in second, and but now he's got to deal with the lap car of Aaron Collins, who now passes him. And as they run right now, Collins would only be 1 lap down. So if the caution comes out, Collins could still be in this, but Durbin powering back around him on the outside. We don't see that very often, and he clears him going into turn 1. But eventually Collins would get around Durbin and pull away from him. And now Durbin's got to deal with Ethan Everett as he is caught up to him. And so has Henry Rayner, remember, who's also a lap down, but he's only 1 lap down. So he's actually trying to get back on the lead lap. So you can't blame him for trying to fight the leaders to do that. As Rowan Musico now just popped back up to 3rd. Nicky Curtis is now battling for 4th with a Craig Janser back there. 3rd caution of the day would fly on lap 49. Rowan Musico is going to get into the 80 of Henry Rayner and turn him into the wall. Well, it's a tough break for Rayner. He could have gotten back on the lead lap. He's going to drive away from this. No one else is going to hit him, but that would end Rayner's day. Durbin, along a few others, would pin under that caution, and Ethan Everett would get the lead on the restart. Craig Janser would work his way up to 2nd. AJ Murphy up to 3rd. We haven't seen a lot of him today, as Azure would pass Everett on the inside to get his lap back, as Collins trying to do the same thing as well, trying to get back one, but Collins trying to get back 1 lap down. Azure's now back on the lead lap, and a caution is just what Azure would get, as that would fly not that long after the restart. Craig Janser would force a 3 wide and put both Ethan Everett and Aaron Collins into the wall. Janser and Everett would take each other out while battling for the lead and take out the lap car of Aaron Collins as well. As you see, Everett is going to drive away from this, but Janser would retire from the race. Let's take another look at this. Janser looks like he just pushes up into the path of Everett, not knowing if Everett was there, and takes all 3 of them into the wall. As Collins pretty much is an innocent bystander in that he will retire from the race as well. Everett would continue without too much of a problem. But you gotta feel bad for Craig Janser, who's gonna give that underfunded team a great run, and now he's out. Meanwhile, back up front, Jason Richardson is lead on the restart after more pit stops. Tommy Nash is in 2nd. He's the first time he's been up front all day. See, they pass he's passing Phil Caslow, who's a lap down. Joe Olenek is running in 3rd. As you see, a 3-wide battle behind Richardson now for 2nd, as Anthony Evans now getting into the battle as well. Now, Richardson has done absolutely nothing this year. He's 36th in points, and his only top 10 this season was at Daytona. So this has not been a good season for Richardson, but he's had a great day so far today. He's looking to turn it around. But Tommy Nash is going to catch up to Richardson. So will Joe Olenek, and they're going to try to fight for the lead. Then Olenek almost makes it 3 wide, and Nash is going to make the middle work and stake with him. Olenek is going to fall back, but Richardson is going to stay in the lead that lap, and looks like Nash is going to pull ahead of Richardson on the inside and make the pass work. A few laps later, Olenek will be Olenek's turn to try to go for the lead, but he's not going to be as lucky as Nash is going to lead that lap, and Richardson is going to fall back to 4th to Anthony Evans, as they see the top 4 kind of pull away from the rest of the field. Things do calm down a little bit as Nash pulls ahead of Olenek, and is going to keep the lead. But things would pick up again as Anthony Evans now battling Olenek for 2nd, and the rest of the field, well, maybe 3 other cars are going to join this battle. Tony Durbin's one of them, almost 4 wide there. Phil Castle, the lap car, is going to join in as well. He really shouldn't be in that battle. Durbin's going to move up to 3rd. Richardson is in 2nd. Nash is going to drop back to 4th as a result. As Tony Durbin right now then would be still in third. Anthony Evans takes the lead now. As you can see, Musico back up to fifth. He's been kind of up and down the field all day. And also back there, Travis Marshall. We haven't seen a lot of him today, as he's now trying to peep his nose into this fight as well. The leader is eventually going to catch up to the lap car of Joe Burns. Evans is going to be held up by him, as Richardson's going to take advantage and take the lead. As he goes to Tony Durbin, Evans is going to lose second as well to Tony Durbin, and he's also going to lose third, as you can tell, Burns is much slower than the rest of the field. Here's Jim Kidd, now running in the top 5, as some people have called him the Emperor of the Empire State, as he has won both races in New York. Kidd has not been anywhere near the front all day. Now it seems that the car is coming to life, as we're now approaching the halfway point. So hopefully he can get a decent result. Matter of fact, the only reason he's in the chase was because of those 2 wins. Meanwhile, back up front, AJ Murphy is almost going to get into the side of Jason Richardson and take the lead for himself. First time Murphy's been in the lead in the entire race, but Richardson's going to try to fight again on the inside, but that's not going to work, as the outside is the better line, and Murphy's going to keep the lead. 5th caution of the day would fly on lap 83. 3-wide battle here, as Tony Durbin is going to shove the 96 of Calvin Hobbs into the wall. Hobbs goes for a barrel roll and rides on the wall for a little bit. And here comes Corbin Kelce Jr. right on the passenger side of Hobbs. As you saw, as you probably saw smoke billowing out of Tony Durbin's car, his day would end. And as you see, Ethan Everett also plow into McAllister. So yeah, nasty wreck here. A little after halfway, he was on board with McAllister Jr. As he luckily that was the passenger side, as if his chase couldn't get any worse, this would mean he would fail to finish all 4 chase races. Now right along with Ethan Everett, who was off the pace from the last caution, thought the opening was big enough and runs right into McAllister. All 4 cars, including Durbin, would retire from the race, which especially bad for Tony Durbin. Thought he was going to leave here in control of the championship battle. That's no longer going to be the case. On the restart, Tommy Nash leads. You see, Roman Musico was a lap down. We missed it. He actually came to pit road like right before that caution. So he's now a lap down, trying to get his lap back now from Tommy Nash. AJ Murphy's in second, as I think I saw Jim Kidd back there in third. And as you can see, eventually AJ Murphy would catch up to Nash and pass Nash on the inside. One of the very few instances we've seen that work. And Murphy's going to take the lead. But that same lap, Nash is then going to pull into pit road for a puncture. Man, I don't know what is it with this track. And oh, he almost overdrives the access road and almost runs into Jason Richardson. But as I was saying, I don't know what is it with this track that's eating up the ties, as he is one of numerous drivers that has had to pit under green for that same issue. The 6th caution would fly about a lap later. Aaron McLaw is going to run turn 2 a little bit wide. He's going to come down in the path of Frank Asher and put himself into the wall, and then gets turned by Curtis Darcy. And then he goes on a wild ride after being hit by Anthony Evans, as his car is going to come to a stop on the backstretch. Right on board with Frank Asher. Let's see, get a closer look on what happens. So from there, it looks like McLaw just was running the turn a little bit wide and just was coming back down and not knowing that Asher was there. This angle should tell us everything. Yeah, McLaw runs the turn wide, almost runs into the wall. I don't know, it kind of looks like maybe Asher himself was starting to run a little bit wide there, as McLaw was coming back down, and that's what resulted in him turning McLaw. As you can see, then McLaw gets turned by Curtis Darcy right into the path of Anthony Evans, which sends him barrel rolling down the backstretch. Now right along with McLaw now, as yeah, like I said before, as you can see, the wild ride that McLaw takes. Yeah, like I was saying, it looks like both of them were, Asher was coming up as McLaw was heading down, and that's what started that. Anyway, yeah, both Evans and McLaw would retire from the race as a result. Meanwhile, yeah, there is only 9, as you probably saw, there's only 19 cars left in this race, and we still got a little more than 50 laps left. And Mike Whitmore would lead on that restart. Roman Musico and Phil Castle are on the tail end of the lead lap. As you can see, Nikki Curtis running in second. Great run for her as she is going to try to catch up to Whitmore, but he's going to use the lap cars to separate himself from Curtis. As you see now, she's receiving pressure from Palmer Styles in the 21, as Whitmore would eventually pull away from everybody and also put Tommy Nash a lap down. However, that restart would also be short-lived, as the caution would come out a few laps after it. Right along with Nikki Curtis says, "What is Phil Castle doing? He spins Curtis into the infield and she hits the inside wall." She's going to come back up onto the track, and that's why the caution would come out. Luckily, she would continue on. I have no idea what Phil Castle was thinking. You do not race a lead lap car like that if you're a lap down. Alright, on the restart, Mike Whitmore continues to lead. AJ Murphy is in second, Palmer Styles third, Curtis Darcy in fourth, as the former Master Cup winner and Rookie of the Year. Even though he's in the chase, he hasn't really done anything too spectacular. Hopefully he can capitalize here now, as most of his points rivals are out of the race. Here is Travis Marshall and another one of the chase contenders, as he's fighting passing Palmer Styles for third on the outside. Marshall's in the same position as Whitmore. Hasn't really done nothing spectacular in the chase. But like I said, with most of their competition that's ahead of them out of the race, hopefully gave big dividends here. As you can see, Palmer Styles are passing him for third, once again trying to end the inside. Meanwhile, back up front, AJ Murphy has taken the lead from Mike Whitmore. Whitmore's going to try to power back around Murphy on the outside, and looks like it's going to work. Tommy Nash is going into this battle as well. He's a lap down, trying to get back on the lead lap, as they go almost 3 wide there. Whitmore's going to take the lead back. Here's an interesting battle here for third with Jason Richardson, Palmer Styles, and Travis Marshall. As you see the lap cars of Phil Castle and Tommy Nash in there. Don't know why they're there. Now you see Lauren Roth in there, Curtis Darcy, and also you can see Frank Azure. Remember, he was a lap down earlier. He's now in this fight as well. As you can see, Richardson pulls away with third, and Tommy Nash is going to try to pass him there. Don't know what the point of that is. Styles eventually going to get a challenge for fourth by Travis Marshall. I see Frank Azure now challenging the Ocean Motorsports cars of Roth and Darcy. You see Jim Kidd also now coming into this battle. And we got a wreck behind them. The 8th caution of the day flies on lap 109. And it is Nikki Curtis and Stephen Gill that are in the wall out of turn 2. And that's going to finish Curtis off. She will go out of the race because of this. Let's take a look at this. I don't know. It looks like Gill moved up into the path of Curtis. That's a terrible shame. Both Curtis and Gill will go out of the race. She was having a great day so far, and now her day is done. Mike Whitmore will continue to lead on the restart, with AJ Murphy still in second. Phil Castle, Tommy Nash still a lap down, and Castle was going to fight Whitmore on the inside. Yeah, the run there, but as I said, the outside is the better line, and Castle's not going to get his lap back. And eventually, Castle and Nash are going to pretty much form a wall. It's going to prevent the rest of the field from catching up to Whitmore, which is going to allow him to pull away from the field. Now, I know that these guys are trying to get their laps back, but if other cars are trying to race for the win, you don't form a wall to prevent them from getting by. As you see, AJ Murphy lose second to Travis Marshall, and is battling now for third with Palmer Styles. Here is Frank Azure now, who is in the top 10 now. It's been an up and down day for him. He had a very fast car in the beginning of the race, had to pit for a puncture, fell a lap down. However, got his lap back, and now he's back in the hunt for the win. And he really needs a good run now. Like I said, a lot of things have gone wrong for him the last couple of weeks. Matter of fact, when he wrecked out last week at Charlotte, he was actually in the top 5 there too. There is Bobby Miller III, who somehow has avoided all of the chaos and is currently running in the top 10 in the Christian Motorsports car, the only one for that team that isn't slow. And as you saw, as you see, the 3-wide battle in front of him, and as you can see, there is about only 10 cars in this lead pack. Well, 10 lead lap cars in this lead pack. Well, there's only 16 cars total. There's Joe Olenek running in the back of this pack. As you see, Olenek led the points for most of the first part of the season, and Magic Method was actually still in championship contention until wrecking out in Charlotte last week. He's still running now, and a lot of his competition is out, so good news for him. Meanwhile, back up front, Mike Whitmore is essentially pulled away from the rest of the field, but Jason Richardson has gotten around the lap car of Tommy Nash and is now in pursuit of Whitmore. As you can see, Travis Marshall and AJ Murphy battling for third behind them. Here is that battle for third now, as Marshall goes on the inside as Murphy is stuck behind Tommy Nash. But remember, Nash is not necessarily off the pace, but Marshall's gonna make the pass work anyway. And here comes Murphy back on the inside. And as they go into turn 3, he's not gonna be as lucky, as Marshall is going to keep third. And as you probably saw while we were talking about that battle, Richardson's going to take the lead from Mike Whitmore on the inside. And Whitmore tries to go back on the inside for a crossover move, but as he brought Travis Marshall with him, and actually Whitmore's also going to make the inside work and take the lead back, and as Marshall's trying to do the same exact thing. But eventually Richardson would fight past Marshall and try to once again go for Mike Whitmore for the lead, but it doesn't work, and Whitmore opens his lead again. It's pretty obvious that Whitmore has the strongest car in this stage of the race, as Richardson is now once again under pressure from Travis Marshall. And now AJ Murphy joined that fight as well. The 9th caution of the day would fly on lap 129. Roman Musico is going to put Phil Caslow and himself into the wall. Again, Phil Caslow, why are you battling lead lap cars? Well, he's now out of everybody's way, as he, along with Musico, are now out of the race. Meanwhile, just before the restart, something's wrong with the 25 of Mike Whitmore, as he's going to pull into pit row from the lead, and it appears that the camshaft has gone on the number 25 car. Oh, that is just horrible luck, as he looked like he was going to run away with this thing, as he obviously had the strongest car on the second half of the race, and his day would be done. That would give the lead to Jason Richardson on the restart with about less than 20 to go. As the Tommy Nash still a lap down. Travis Marshall's in second. AJ Murphy trying to go on the inside of Marshall for second, but once again, the outside is a better line, and Marshall's going to keep the position, as Richardson is going to pass Nash and then pull away from Murphy and Marshall. Here is Billy Bob Childress, who was involved in the very first caution. He's been off the pace ever since, and due to the high attrition rate of this race, he's just outside the top 10. So, oh yeah, good job for him for surviving. And sometimes it's all about survival. Speaking of drivers who have been off the pace, here is Manny Brown in the 23, who, like Childress, has been off the pace pretty much the entire race, and now, because of so many cars have wrecked out, he's going to get a decent result. So, like I said before, sometimes it is all about survival and not how fast you are. 10th caution of the day would fly on lap 138. Curtis Darcy's going to get into the side of Jim Kidd and putting both him and Kidd into the wall. As you can see, they'll both drive away from this, but both will retire from the race. And matter of fact, all the cautions that happened today came coming out of turn 2. And as you can see, we would come to the restart with only 8 laps to go. Jason Richardson leads, and as you can see, there is only 11 cars left. We're within 10 laps to go, so it's single file. And here we go to the restart. Marshall's able to keep up with Richardson, as then Richardson is going to pull away from him coming out of turn 2. And now Marshall is going to face pressure from Palmer Styles for second, but Marshall's going to hold him up, and he's going to have a run on Richardson coming into turn 1. He's going to throw the inside, but that is not the preferred line. But Marshall's going to make it work, and Richardson's going to do the crossover move and take the lead back, and that's going to bring Palmer Styles into the fight as well. As you see, Styles will then pass Marshall for second, as Marshall's going to try again to pass Styles on the inside. But that is not, as I said, that's not the preferred line, and that's only going to allow Richardson to pull away. As you can see them continuing their fight behind them, as Styles is going to stay in second. As they come into turn 2, AJ Murphy now coming into the battle as well. He's on the outside, which is the preferred line. He's going to take third place. As you see him coming out of turn 4, he's cleared Marshall. He is now up to third. And now he's going to work on Palmer Styles for second. But again, the inside is not the preferred line. But see, he's going to make it work. He's now, AJ Murphy now up to second, but Styles is fighting hard on the outside. As Styles is see if he's going to keep the position going into 3. Let's see if Murphy can stay with him. And no, Styles is going to stay in second. Here is Frank Azure now, back up to 6. Remember, as I said, he pitted for a puncture early in the race, fell a lap down, caught the caution at the right time. It is now back up on the lead lap, and now will get his. Looks like he could get his first top 5 finish since the beginning of the season, as he has passed Joe Olenek for 5th, and is also now passing Tommy Nash, who is still a lap down from pitting for a puncture. The same issue Azure had. As Olenek's going to pass. No, Nash and Olenek wreck. And you can see Bob Mill the third plow into it as well, as the caution will come out with 4 laps to go, which means this race will end under caution, as Miller the third and Olenek will not make it to the finish. Oh, you see, it looks like just Olenek winning. That's way too hot. Got by Azure, but takes out Nash in the process. As you see, Bobby Miller the third, really nothing he could have done there. Olenek just spins right in front of him, and as I said, they lasted this long, and Olenek and Miller the third will not make the finish. And here's the battle back to the line. Murphy has a run on him, but he cannot find an opening, and Jason Richardson is going to make it back to the caution flag, and he's going to lead everybody to the caution. Anyway, here is Tommy Nash. He was the only one to drive away from that, and yeah, he's going to, even if he didn't, he would actually still get a top 10 finish, which he will get now. And wait a second, it looks like he's slowing up. It looks like the car finally broke down on him, as he initially drove away from it, but apparently the car could not hold together, and he's gonna come to pit road, but he will actually cross the line to finish the race. Like I said, he had pitted early for a puncture, and now he's just gonna limp across the line to finish the race. And meanwhile, with only 8 people crossing the line, Jason Richardson is going to come to the checker flag under yellow to win his first ASCC race. Now, this win for Richardson is actually his first ever top 5 in the series. So, like I said earlier, that he hasn't done anything. He only had 1 top 10 entering this race. At least he got something worth mentioning. Coming to the end of the season, AJ Murphy, the highest finishing chase driver, finishes second. I believe that's his best finish of the year in the Accelerated Motorsports car. Palmer Styles finishes in 3rd. Travis Marshall in 4th. Frank Azure finishes in 5th, his first top 5 finish. Sets New York. Lauren Roth finishes in 6th. Bob Childress gets involved in the very first caution, off the pace the entire race. He's due to the high attrition rate, he finishes 7th. Manny Brown, same thing for him, even though he wasn't involved in a wreck, he was just slow in general. He finishes in 8th. Tommy Nash, as I said, does make it across the line at a blazing 20 miles per hour. 1 lap down in 9th is the last car to finish the race. And Joe Olenek First car to fail a finish finishes in 10th. And here is the chase field entering the final race of the season. Tony Durbin is now the points leader, 8 points ahead of Dan Richards. Both failed to finish the race, but of course Durbin lasted longer than Richards did, and therefore Durbin gets the points lead. Interesting fact, Durbin is now leading the points, though he has not won a single race this season. Aaron Collins is in third, 18 back. Jim Kidd, who lasted almost until the end, he's now only 19 back. Joe Olenek, who, as like I said before, led most of the first half of the season, he's 24 back. Roman Musico is in 6th, 36 back. And Travis Marshall is in 7th, the last driver mathematically eligible, 41 points behind his teammate Tony Durbin. Everybody from 8th on back is mathematically eliminated. Mike Whitmore, 46 back. Most you can gain on an individual in a single race is 45 points, meaning that Whitmore will be eliminated as soon as Durbin takes the green flag at Atlanta. Bill Calhoun, the Texas 500 winner, in 9th, 51 points back. AJ Murphy, despite the second place finish, 52 back. He's eliminated. Frank Asher in 11th, 54 back. He has, similar to Olenek, he was in the top 5 in the points up until right before the chase started, and it pretty much fell apart from there. This run today really couldn't save him. Bobby Miller, the junior, is 12th, 57 back. Ethan Everett, 61 back. And Garth McAllister Jr., 82 back, the last of the chase drivers. Like I said his chase really couldn't have gotten much worse, as he's failed to finish every single race, as no surprise that he is the last driver. So there are 7 drivers that can still win the championship going into the final race of the season, the Lennard 200 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.